So let's go ahead and do something with these contents. And I can't actually access this contents anymore directly because it's inside of this closure. And if I type contents, that actually gives me the HTML tag whose ID is contents. So window.contents gives me the element that has contents as an ID, which is not the same as this HTML document. So if I want to get the HTML document, what I have to do is go to sources, and I can put a breakpoint right here where I'm logging contents. And if I stop at this breakpoint, I'm going to be inside of the closure, and so I can see everything that code inside the closure sees. So I'm going to reload, and here I'm stopped at the breakpoint. And now if I go back to the console and type contents, now I get that local variable. So that's how you can take a look at what's going on inside of there. And what I'm going to do is all of this stuff inside of the head, I want to copy into the head of my document. And all of this stuff inside of the body, I want to copy into a div box inside the body of my document. And I don't want to just copy it into the body directly because I'm going to want to have some stuff above there. So let's go ahead and start stubbing that out. First, I'm going to go back to sources and I'm going to continue and remove that breakpoint. And then let's go to FetchPage.php and I'm going to stub this out. So the first thing I'm going to want to have on my form, on my page rather, is a div box. And let's go ahead and call that search box. And I'll just stub that. Search goes here. And then next thing I'm going to want is a table of contents. And I want to center that, so I'm going to have a table of contents container, which is going to center its content. And then inside of there, I'm going to have a div box, which is the actual table of contents. And I'll close that off. And let's go ahead and put some text. Table of contents goes here. And then I'm going to have the actual area where my page content goes. So let's go ahead and make that be content. Okay, so there's my HTML. And I won't fill anything in here because I'm going to be copying stuff into there. So we'll reload. Good. So what I want to do in fetch page is I want to have a function called, let's say, move content. And I want to move children from contents.head to document.head. And I also want to move children from contents.body to document.getElementById content. Let's call that contents, because otherwise I'm going to make mistakes. Okay, so to move the children, I have to write that helper function. So move children is going to take a source and a destination, and it's going to have a while loop. So while source.children, actually let me use child nodes, .length is greater than 0. So let me show you the difference between children and child nodes really quickly. I can save this, it should still run. So let me go ahead and put that breakpoint back in and reload. Okay, so here's my content. And before I had that H1, so that should be the H1. So if you open that, you'll see there's a piece of text, which is a text node, and also an HTML element as children of this H1. But if you use .children, you just get the div in your HTML collection, because it's not in the text is an HTML is a text node, not an HTML element. But if you use child nodes, you get both. So child node sub 0 is the text node that has a node value of eloquent JavaScript. So console.dir, we see that this is actually a text node with a bunch of properties. The important ones are data, which is also can be referred to using node data. Node name is # text. Node type is 3, which is document.text node. So document.text node is 3. Document.element node is 1. So the H1 itself is an element node. This piece of text is a text node. That div box is an element node. And some other values. So node value, that's the actual text. Node type is 3, and so on. So what we want to do is use child nodes here because we're going to copy all of them. And what I'm going to do is var child is source.child nodes sub 0, and then I'm going to source.remove child. So I'm going to pull it out of the source tree, save it in child, and then destination dot append child. So I basically moved it out of contents and into the document. I'm going to go ahead and save. And sources, remove the breakpoint, continue, and then reload. Oh, and I have to call move content. So after parsing the page, I'm going to move content. Okay, so I have an error, cannot read property append child of null. So I must have forgotten to save. Yeah, I forgot to save that after I changed content to contents. So let's try it again. There we go. So my contents box has a 1 pixel black border around it. Yeah, contents has 1 pixel black border. And there's my search box, my table of contents, and then here's all of the HTML from the Eloquent JavaScript homepage. And you'll notice that all of these links are broken, all these images are broken. And if I right click on the image and open image in new tab, this is where it's looking for the image. So the reason is the image source is specified relative to the current page. And the current page here is actually this. So it's looking for up to there and then the name of the image. It should be looking on the Eloquent JavaScript site. And so that's the next thing we need to fix is make sure that all of these images are pointing to the right place and that also these URLs are doing the right thing. So like if I click on introduction, it doesn't work because it's looking relative to the current page instead of on the Eloquent JavaScript site.